biology, genetics and genomics, generating biological data, genes and protein expressions, comparative analysis of genome data, understanding of evolutionary aspect of uh, evolutionary aspect, then understanding biological pathways and networks in system biology, in silico, in silico simulations and modeling of DNA, RNA, and proteins. First of all, what is the hidden biological information and where it is located? If we are working on human genome project, where is that data? We know the size of human genome. We know there is some transcriptomic data. There is some data related to cancer, RNA-seq data, metabolomics data. Where is that data? And from that data, which is the most important data that we have to select for analysis or for our idea, that what kind of data we need to analyze for our own idea. Maybe we need some generating new data, or the data is already available. We can mine data from that part as well. In molecular biology or genetics and genomics, we need some DNA or proteins, and we can start our experiment. We can mine some markers, we can generate some markers, and then based on our idea, we can see the databases. Is there is any data related to our idea? If data is available, then there is no need to generate new data for that particular experiment. So if we are familiar with bioinformatics, maybe we can mine data from publicly available databases instead of generating new sequencing data before starting our experiment. What are the main areas of bioinformatics? If data is available, then it's fine. If data is not available, maybe there is a human genome project, there is a particular database for human, there is a maybe particular database for particular plant or particular organism. We can develop a database by using bioinformatics skills and some programming skills. Then tool development, there is a main tool which everyone is almost familiar, like BLAST. They are doing for which is used for comparative analysis of data. Then there is a part of structural biology where we can analyze the in silico structures of proteins and drug designing. By selecting our target, we can design some drugs. In order to dock those drugs or to repurposing the drugs, we can generate some drugs. Then there is a stream like next generation sequencing data analysis. For next generation sequencing, actually, it is a very big part. I'll show in next slide. Then there is expression analysis of genes, then protein-protein interaction network analysis, then identification of some pathways. What are the pathways, which is this data is related to which pathways that we have selected. Then there may be huge amount of data which is still uncharacterized. By using bioinformatics means how to characterize that data. And there is some part of system biology where we can characterize the particular pathway like circadian rhythm, cell cycle, and many others. For the particular cell, for the particular organ, we can generate or simulate the genes. First of all, in this course, what we have planned actually, this is first general training in bioinformatics, which is mandatory for all, because many persons, they are new bioinformatics. If anybody is familiar with bioinformatics, he can skip this course, but this is very important because we'll start from basic. In this course, I'll teach you, first of all, what is bioinformatics and what is its scope. There is a lot of scope of bioinformatics because in this pandemic time, lot of people, they are working online and lot of data is available for analysis. There are a lot of vacancies as well. Many new bioinformatics. There is a huge scope of bioinformatics. If anybody is from biotechnology and he is familiar with bioinfo as well, there is a lot of scope, and with other integrative sciences as well. Then what are biological databases? What are primary and secondary databases? I'll teach you in this general training course. And what are the important tools and softwares in bioinformatics that we use in our daily life, and how to use those softwares. I have arranged a practical session as well. Then what is a phylogenetic analysis in the evolution point of view, and here is a practical session, and what are different tools and how to use those tools in bioinformatics. Then what are the basics of sequences, data extraction, nucleotides or protein databases. Then what is multiple sequence alignment by using several tools, then that we'll do in our practical classes. Then practical regarding phylogenetic analysis, this is the general training in bioinformatics. If anybody has any doubt regarding this general training in bioinformatics, you can ask me right now, then I'll proceed further.
Yeah, any one of you who is interested in joining this general in bioinformatics course? Or you have some idea about the bioinformatics and you think that you can move ahead with the other courses?
I'm interested, ma'am.
Okay, you are Ria. Okay, so Ria is there. So some, okay, all right. Then you can ask Dr. Gagandeep. Okay, maybe they can ask during the course also. So please
Okay,
go
okay,
ahead.
no problem. But
Yeah.
This is a mandatory course for all who is new in bioinformatics. Then it's up to each student. And our next course is basically structural biology. Here, first of all, I'll teach you in basics that what is structural biology, what are the tools in basics, that what are the tools used in structural biology, and in structural biology, what are the techniques of structural biology. For example, what is homology modeling, what is threading, then homology modeling, how to do this homology modeling, how to do threading, basically what is difference between threading and homology modeling. That I'll teach you in structural biology course. And if once a structure has been modeled, how to validate that structure is correct or not, how to validate that structure, the process is structural validation. Then what is the stability, is that structure is stable or that structure is unstable, what is the basically role of that structure in a particular condition. We can simulate that structure by using molecular simulation and dynamics. There is a techniques, there are some softwares, how to use those softwares in molecular simulation and dynamics. And if we have identified any particular structure of protein, why we have identified that protein, what is the active site of that protein, then what is the active site of that protein, and how to block that active site in order to reduce its effects or in order to enhance its effect in the purpose of drug designing. That is known as docking. Means when we have identified a structure, we can see the stability of that structure. After getting the stability, if structure is stable, then we can find active sites and we can design drugs, followed by docking. Here is the practical session as well, where we'll do homology modeling, then threading. This practical is that I'll do, and you will also do with me by selecting your own proteins if you are interested. Then with each technique, I'll show you something, and then you have to select some proteins. Either maybe I'll provide you that protein. You have to model that protein. But firstly, we have to be very clear that no previous structure related to that protein is available. We'll model new proteins for three-dimensional structures, and we will identify their active sites, and followed by drug designing and docking. There are types of some docking, that is rigid docking or flexible docking. We'll do all these things in structural biology course. If anybody has any doubt, hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. So basically, you can tell them about the use of these in their research or for the job opportunities.
Okay. First of all, what is structural biology? Means I'll give you some brief introduction about this structural biology. Right now we are facing this pandemic of corona. Which protein is related to which is the protein, what is the active site of that protein, which is basically receiving or interacting with that virulent protein of corona? Which is that protein? If we can identify that protein in corona, maybe we'll dock the active site of that protein, so that any molecule that comes from this virus may not be able to bind that particular site. But there are various parameters. This is for one disease. I have designed some drug designing targets related to Helicobacter pylori. Means what are the virulent proteins in a particular organism? We have to identify those proteins, and followed by structural modeling, we can identify the active site of those proteins, and we can bind the we can design a drug in order to stop the activity of that protein in order to prevent that disease. Means in many this pharmacophore modeling is there. There is a scope in structural biology. There is a scope in this pharmaceutical industry as well. Structural based drug designings. There are a lot of other courses, like in when we are modeling a new protein which is virulent. Maybe we will be able to bind that protein in precise form. Then maybe we can design a good drug for that. There is a scope in designing drug, there is a scope in modeling, there is a scope in pharmaceutical industries as well for structural biology. And we can prove our structures in wet lab as well by X-ray crystallography or NMR spectroscopy as well in our if we want to prove our in silico experiment.
So if you want to ask about any topic among them, that also you can ask. If you are not able to understand that what will be the content of this particular topic, then also you can ask.
Yeah.
Because mostly I hope all are new to this area.
Yes.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody has any query, or I'll go ahead?
You can go ahead. They can ask at the end, or Deepika is asking something.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Deepika, are you asking? Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Deepika.
Yes, yes, please.
So I know little bit about molecular simulation and protein crystallography. So I have a very basic question. Like you said, you are gonna build a new a structure of very new protein.
Yes, yes.
We don't be having any reference or somehow related protein to that particular protein which you are gonna build. So how in that?
First of all, when we are going to model a new protein, we have to identify the template of that protein.
Yeah.
Means there is no structure of that protein, but for particular regions, there may be some sites or particular regions having some protein peptides maybe there in protein data bank. Then we can join all those threads in order to build a new structure.
Okay, so it means we must be having some working area of protein, that how it is working and from where it is coming and
not working area. Actually, when we select a new protein, first of all, we'll try to find that any structure is available related to this protein. If there is no structure of that particular protein, then we'll reduce its alignment with other proteins having structures. Then after reducing the alignment, which part of that proteins are similar to those proteins having available structures, then we can mine all those structures with that particular area, and by looking near particular sites which are similar to our protein, we can build a new structure.
Okay, okay, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more question? Hello. Hello.
Ji, you can move ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Then this is the third part of our course where we learn about next generation sequencing. First of all, what is next generation sequencing and what is its importance? Everybody may be aware. If not, then I'll tell you. In this era of next whole genome or transcriptome or metabolome, there we in the many countries are moving towards personalized medicines. Which protein is particular for a particular clan, particular family, particular area, particular ethnicity? Means what are the proteins which are expressing in a particular clan, and then there is some risk of disease. What are the mutations related to the particular protein, which pathways are blocked by that particular protein, and that disease is in the particular clan or a family or a region or a ethnicity. We have to, this is very important part in wet lab. First of all, we have to select some samples. Means sampling is very important. What are the conditions of those samples? Maybe there is some control sample like a normal sample, and then maybe some disease samples. We can compare the sequences of disease sample with normal sample. Then we can find which are the what kind of proteins are affected by the particular disease, and are those proteins are affected in only a particular region or only in a particular ethnic group. What are those proteins which are affecting with this particular disease? We can, first of all, we have to identify which disease we are going to target, and in that disease, what are the proteins which are virulent, and then what is the expression analysis of those proteins, for which we need, first of all, we need a whole human genome sequencing data that is available in UCSC browser. Then we can download the data, we can map our reads for the particular condition, and we can see the expression analysis of that particular proteins, and followed by this we can go towards drug designing methods in order to remove that part. And next generation sequencing is the basically very huge area where big data analysis is very important. For example, we can select thousands of samples and we have to analyze in very limited time. We can select this next generation sequencing, but first of all, we need to generate the data. Either the data is available. This is the main point. If we are going to design any experiment, firstly, in this theory part and also in practical part, first line is extraction of publicly available data. If data is available, then in which form data is available? Data is always in raw form, means that is in FASTQ format only. We have to extract the data, but if we are extracting the data, is that data is related to disease, or is that data is related to some old people or some kids, or that is normal data? We can extract the data. Either we need to generate the raw data for expression analysis. After generating or extracting the data from publicly available databases, we have to clean that data. Means which reads are duplicated, or which reads there is some error, maybe some AT or GC, without irrespective of any SNP. Maybe there is some sequencing error or sampling error. First, we have to identify clean reads from that data, followed by assembly and status. What are the stats of assembly? Means what is the length of read? What is the length of protein? Is full length protein is there or not? Then we'll go for functional annotation. Means once data is available, what is the function of that protein or particular sequence, in order to identify the proteins or sequences related to our target, and which pathway that particular novel genes are targeting. We have to identify those pathways as well. Then we can identify some targeted genes related to pathways as well, and we can map those targeted genes. Targeted genes here means related to disease only, because in whole data, maybe in 50,000 data, there may be only 300 sequences which are maybe related to that disease. We have to identify those 300 sequences, and finally we have to analyze the expression analysis of those genes at particular stages. For example, in normal condition, what is the expression of that particular gene? In a disease condition of a small child, disease condition of a young one, this adult person, or in old age person, we can differentiate and we can see the expression analysis of those particular genes which are related to that particular disease. And there are some practical sessions for this analysis. I'll do practical analysis, and I'll also assign some data, the the person who is willing to join this course. And this is the part of this next generation sequencing. And if anybody want to put his own idea related to this next generation sequencing, is most welcome. And if you have any query related to this course, please ask me.
Yeah, go ahead. Anyone has any query or yeah.
Its major application will be in personalized medicine, because if we are going to sequence the data, we can take a person who is suffering from, say, some rare disease, and we can sequence that, and we can find the gene responsible for that rare disease, and we can find the cure.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the major application is in personalized medicine.
No, not personalized medicine only. Means this can be used in personalized medicines as well. This can be used for personal medicines for a particular clan as well. Means currently I'm working on this ethnicity based corona medicine, because there is a maybe myth, I don't know. There is a condition like corona is a human made virus, and is this virus is affecting only in American, or this virus is affecting in Indians, or this virus is affecting in Europeans? Why not to Chinese people? Maybe there are some sequences which are expressing in America or Europe, or maybe in Asia. They have targeted that virus which can affect that particular protein. Means by use of next generation sequencing, these human made viruses, we can target particular ethnic group as well. For personalized medicines, we can see the expression analysis of that, and for every organism, for microorganisms, what are the products they are releasing. We can see which gene is related to the particular product. Means that product can be used in medicines or in cosmetic industry. Those products in plants as well. Which is the particular gene is responsible for that product. We can express that gene. And after expression of that genes, we can extract that product as well. This next generation sequencing is a huge area here. Means for every plant, and sequencing is currently ongoing. For maybe for Arabidopsis, genome has already completed. For human genome sequence is already completed. For Buffalo, there may be other institutes as well. They are working on next generation sequencing, and they have completed genomes. But for particular breeds, they are going to do some transcriptomes, and they are mapping for their particular product. For in case of buffaloes, there is a milk. We need milk for milk production. Which gene is important, and we are trying to express that gene in a means whatever our idea is.
Okay.
And in case of personal medicines, we can identify the gene of that particular person, and we'll definitely try to express that gene so that disease can be cured.
Thank you, sir.
So I have one more question.
Yeah, please.
So basically, what is the difference between big data analysis and data analysis? And data analysis, what we do in case of bioinformatics or next generation sequencing, is it different from the data analysis which we use using different programming languages like R, Python?
Actually, okay, no problem. Big data analysis means when I have selected for example, I am selecting 6 conditions. For each condition, 6 conditions or 6 particular areas. For each area, I have selected at least 40 samples. And for each sample, there may be some triplicates. Means for 6 conditions, for single condition, 40 sample and triplicates. How much that data? That may be 1 TB, 2 TB. Because I am going to analyze that particular thing. For example, I have worked on tea. What are the regions where tea plant is available? I have selected those particular regions, and I have tried to analyze all part of that tea, all dynamics of that tea, and then try to analyze whole data from genome to transcriptome to microRNAs, long non-coding RNAs, to SNPs, to SSRs. This is basically big data analysis, from assembly to annotation to identification of pathways, and finally identification of some genes. And simply data analysis, that is what is the function of one gene, that we can sequence our one protein, and we have to identify that what is the function of that protein, is this correctly sequenced or not. Data analysis means we can use some statics as well. What is the length of sequence? What is the atomicity of that sequence? If we have any simple protein sequence, what is the location of that structure, that is membranic, cytosolic? That is simple data analysis. But for big data analysis, there is a involvement of whole DNA, either RNA-seq data. Means that is in GBs or TBs. But for simple data, that may be in KBs. And for big data analysis, we need a big computer as well. But in this course, we are not going to select very big data, because I know nobody has big workstations at their homes, but they can start with some small data, and they can further increase the data with the specification of their computers as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. And one more thing, if we register for this course, what will be the prerequisites we will be reading in this course?
That I'll suggest you during this course. Then I'll teach theory. Then I'll suggest what are the softwares or what are the tools we need to install in our computer. Then after installation, we'll do practical as well.
Will be
but basically for next generation sequencing, Linux platform is good if you have.
So Deepika, are you a PhD student or doing PG?
No, I have done my master's in life sciences, and currently I am pursuing a course on bioinformatics itself. So I just started this course, but I am not familiar with the theoretical part of this, but I little bit know about next generation sequencing and about this molecular dynamics simulation that was related to my dissertation work. So I know very little bit about it. I am not much familiar with these.
Okay. So how is that course going? Like, is it just an overview, or it is giving you deep training?
Yeah, they are providing us data, and we are working on their data. And currently we are working on dummy data. And after that, if they find a good fit for them, then they'll provide us their projects as well. Like we'll be working on.
Actually, okay. Actually, if you are doing dissertation work, then everybody will give you some data, and he will teach you small technique that just do copy paste, and then they will extract their data, and you can use their data in dissertation as well. I know that. But if you are going to learn something in this course, I'll teach you step by step, means why we have to select the data, then what is the procedure of filtering, then assembly, and what are other steps. Step by step I'll teach some analysis, because this is an analysis part and this is a learning thing.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, I think Pragati and Shruti and who else is there? Yeah, so you can also ask if you have any questions. You have joined late.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Sir, it's a very basic question, sir. For this training, apart from Linux, what are all the basic specification do we need to have in our PC? For example, any sort of graphic card specification or memory or something basic?
For this graphic card, I think 10 GB NVIDIA graphic card is very good to run some GROMACS part to analyze this molecular dynamics and simulation. But for next generation sequencing, if we are doing all steps, there is only one step, which is data assembly and filtering, data filtering and data assembly. That is basically a big work. I'll teach you by selecting some small dummy data, but for this particular data assembly, if we have a paid software, then our computers are okay. But if we don't have any paid software because the cost is very high, then we need some 256 GB RAM at least and 10 GB graphics card. And there are several institutes like IIT Delhi, they are providing you space to assemble your data as well. There are a lot of other institutes, they are providing you some computational facility in their supercomputers in order to assemble the data. But other parts, there is no need of high computers. Means for every course, maybe that is in structural biology, in order to run MD, means molecular dynamics and simulation, we need some particular specifications like 256 GB RAM and 10 GB graphics card. And same in case of next generation sequencing, we need 256 GB RAM at least and 16 GB graphics card for data assembly. But we can use other sources as well.
So, sir, with this course, we can also continue to do some mini projects because I am in admission process and I'll be admitted for MTech in, I guess, one of NIT.
Okay.
So if I join there, would I be able to do any short-term mini projects with your organization or with you and ma'am?
That ma'am will guide you very well, because if you are
planning
for some project.
I could not get your question. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, ma'am. Like being in our course, say it BTech or MTech, can we involved in performing some sort of mini project in bioinformatics as this could be done online? So.
Already, internships are also going on. Right now, also every Sunday we meet at 6 p.m. and students from all over the world are welcome. Many students do join the meeting. So internships are going on. They are also working in some product development projects. So if this bioinformatics course starts, then we can also design some projects related to these. You were asking this?
Yes, ma'am. Some sort of mini project.
You must have gone through the entire document that I sent you yesterday. You must have seen that they are written already, that they are project-oriented courses. So you will be given some projects to work on along with the training.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Means you want to do project on next generation sequencing only, or by merging next generation sequencing, some structural biology part or protein-protein interaction part as well? Means this is the mainly things used in bioinformatics.
Yeah, sir, anything in field of bioinformatics, not specifically NGS, so because I'm new to this.
Dr. Gagandeep, let them first join, then we can, after we sit for several classes, then the things will be more clear, like what she can actually do. Right?
Okay. And one more thing I'll tell you, if you are going to do some good work, I and ma'am also planned that we'll take that project at publication level as well, because I have 15 to 20 publications in bioinformatics and good impact factors and like that I had told in my previous lecture. But no problem. Any other question or?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah, so Pragati Sharma, do you have any questions? What is your interest? We could not know till now. Do you want to do the basic course, or you want to do some advanced courses or some projects? So I don't know if she's able to hear or no. All right, please go ahead, Dr. Gagandeep. Actually,
this is the last part of this.
She's saying she's new to this. Then it's good that you join the basic course. So I think Deepika and Riya, both of you want to join the basic course, if I remember. Or
yes,
okay. All right. So I think all the three there, they want to start from the basic level only. Deepika, what about you?
Yes, ma'am. I'll check with it. Please send me the mail, what the whole content of this workshop or project. then I'll let you know.
I think I have mailed you. I mailed several people. I don't remember if you are there in that, but you can just cross-check your email. Okay?
On my direct message.
Yeah. If you don't get, then you can let me know. I'll send you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Please go ahead, Dr. Randeep.
And this is the final part of our course, that is protein-protein interaction network analysis. First of all, what is a protein-protein interaction network? What is the need of this network? Proteins which we have identified, and what are those key proteins, and what is the interaction of those proteins? Means, for example, if by using next generation sequencing, we have identified some particular protein. For example, we have identified a protein which is related to the particular disease, but that protein is interacting with some important pathway. If this is the case, can we be able to design drug for that particular protein? That is not possible. Then there is a need of interactome network so that we can find the overall interaction of a particular protein. Means this protein is controlling how many other proteins, and other proteins are controlling how. We have to, there is important need to identify the interactome network of proteins for a particular organism. We can use reference-based protein-protein interaction networks also. We can generate new protein networks as well. I have generated 3 networks in T. You can Google in TulsiPin, then TGPin, and TelePin. These are 3 networks I have generated. By these protein-protein interaction networks, we can identify the noble key proteins in order to proceed further for their expression, drug designing, whatever our target is. Maybe for marker designing, marker development, marker designing, SNP identifications, SSRs, or some ILPs, or microRNAs, or some long non-coding RNAs. We can identify the particular gene related gene which is producing that protein and visualize these proteins. Means I'll teach you how to visualize these protein and how to find the particular interaction of those proteins that we have identified, followed by analysis. Means analysis here means one protein is controlling how many other proteins. Is there is any negative feedback? Is there is any positive feedback of that proteins? Negative feedback means is that due to that particular proteins, it is for a particular protein, is this is interacting with other protein. Maybe some proteins are increasing their function, maybe others are decreasing their functions. Means there may be some negative feedback or positive feedback of by a particular proteins. Means we should be careful before designing any drug for any protein that we have selected. What is the effect if we have designed that proteins? If we have designed a drug for without knowing the interaction of that protein, maybe some important pathway can be blocked, and by that drug the side effect is more. So protein-protein interaction network analysis is very important in order to in this bioinformatics as well. And for protein-protein interaction network, we can generate some gene regulatory networks. We can generate some particular networks of, for example, in human, we can generate a particular network for lungs related to organs. Means what is the network of organs, how many proteins are present in simple lungs, and what is their regulation in accepting or releasing the things. Means this is the importance of protein-protein interaction network. We can identify the interaction of these networks, proteins. By selecting one protein, how many proteins are interacting with this protein, and what is the role of all other proteins, and what will be the effect if we generate a simple drug, and how many pathways can be blocked. By protein-protein interaction network, we can analyze all these things. If anybody has any query related to this this course, you can please ask me.
Anyone? So Deepika is doing masters in which subject?
Well, I have completed my masters, but currently I'm pursuing the course because I was keenly interested in bioinformatics, data science, these things. So I just started with bioinformatics.
Mm-hmm. So you are basically a bachelor's or a master's right now?
A master's in life sciences.
Life sciences, okay. What about Ria?
Ma'am, I've done my bachelor's in biotechnology and I'll be joining NIT Warangal for MTech in biotechnology this year onwards.
Oh, you are already selected?
Yes, ma'am, I have been selected there. Actually, I was
Okay.
confused. I had been selected in DTU for bioinformatics and biotechnology in NIT Warangal. So I'll go with NIT Warangal. And since I am also interested in making my career in bioinformatics, so I was interested about this course.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You can do these add-on courses anytime. And what about Pragati?
Ma'am, I have completed Masters in Life Science.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so bioinformatics is, a very important field. So everyone wants to learn bioinformatics, and especially when during the corona situation, like last year, Dr. Gagandeep said that he published 6 papers. So to publish
Last year, 2019,
research
I have
with this
published
field
six
is
papers.
also a little bit more convenient compared to the wet laboratory where you need more time for your research work, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if we start learning this in a few years, you will become. I think you will have a lot of knowledge in this area, and you can publish papers on your own. So
Many students, they have learned bioinformatics from me. Some are in University of Tasmania, Australia. Others are in US. Means there is a huge scope of bioinformatics because data generation is easy, but how to analyze the skills of bioinformatics, there's a huge demand.
yeah,
And for particular repurposing the drugs for this, in this situation, we can use just internet and some with few some specifications of computer. We can publish a paper in 1 or 2 impact factor. That is really very easy.
especially if
And
at the master's level, if they are able to do something and publish it, that is also good for their CV.
that is a plus point. Yeah, that is a plus point because if there is any vacancy during their PhD hunt, they can first preference will be given to those persons who have publication.
Yes, and even you learn properly, you have command over the subject, only then you can write the paper, right? So it is easy to see some YouTube videos and learn the subject, but that is not interactive, no. If you have questions or you want to interact with the tutor, then always it is good that you join the course, interact with the teacher and try to learn, and then implement this in your paper or project, whatever you are doing. So okay, so let us know that if you have any doubts now or later regarding the
That
course.
is all from this course. And if anybody has any kind of doubt, please you can ask me right now, and I'll clear all doubts because there are a lot of persons they are doing very good research or other things like research. Some
So
other are in
yeah, you can
companies
also
like
inform them about master's courses in bioinformatics which they can pursue outside abroad.
there are a lot of master degree courses in bioinformatics. There is one university, Sunshine Coast in Australia, University of Sunshine Coast and University of Queensland. Then in US there are some good universities, some I think Tasmania, Auckland maybe. Then some these cancer institutes, they are hiring bioinformaticians. They are giving them scholarship as well. There are a lot of other institutes, but I don't know last date is still that has been gone. I don't know. But there are several institutes, they are hiring bioinformaticians in order to conduct their research.
Yeah. So there's a lot of demand in all the institutes and industries. So I think the salary, the package is also very good in bioinformatics. Any other questions do you have? Well,
yeah,
Pragati is asking that do we need master's degree you do not need master's degree to learn bioinformatics, or you can learn this. There are several courses, diploma, certificate, degree courses which are going on. And like even like myself, I have done PhD in nanomaterials and a master's in biotechnology. But later on, I developed the love for bioinformatics, and I also started learning. And now I also want to publish in this area. So research has no limitations. It keeps on going depending upon the need of the time and your interest. So I don't believe that
And
it
ma'am, one
is
student.
necessary for doing or learning anything. So this is just a training program to train you, to guide you what you can do in this field. Later, it's your choice. If you want to do a PhD in bioinformatics, then of course you can join. You can also join master's program if you want to.
Yeah. And one student, Pragati Sharma, she's asking something that is it necessary to have master degree in bioinformatics to work in bioinformatics? Not at all. And if you have master's specialization in genetics. Genetics means human genetics or only genetics?
Probably genetics. Genetics.
Only in genetics.
Masters
If
in
you
genetics.
have specialized masters in genetics, then it is really a very good chance for you, because for any general genetics, including human genetics, one of my students, she has done master's degree in human genetics, and she has completed her bioinformatics course, and now she is pursuing her PhD from Queensland, Australia, because genetics involves our genes, proteins, expression analysis of genes, and if they know some sort of bioinformatics, there is a plus point for them. For anybody who has knowledge of genetics, but for biotechnologists, this is a technique. For every biotechnologist need bioinformatics to publish their work, because I have done work with various biotechnologists. They are working, but at the end of the day, they don't know how to analyze their data. What is the particular gene, if they have sequenced that gene or not. For biochemistry, there is some chemical analysis. We can go for structural biology. We can design some ligands or drugs for in this biochemistry as well. But for genetics, I recommend you should join this course, because genetics is plus point. For genetics, human genetics or proteomics, they have means, according to me, this is a golden opportunity for you.
Also, if you
Yes.
want to work in the area of personalized medicine, this would be very important. And
Yeah.
personalized medicine, then gut microbiome, nutrigenomics, all these are very important topic these days.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think you have answered all their questions. She is saying she's master's in zoology with genetics in, genetics as specialization. Okay. All right.
Maybe I've already answered the things.
So any other questions from your side?
Yes, ma'am, I have one more question. What I feel after coming into this stream, though I have not much knowledge of it, but what I feel is somewhere people who have done masters in bioinformatics, they have good opportunities to get enter into commercial industry. So I'm not looking for working in a research, because I have done research work with Central University of Chhattisgarh also. I'm keenly interested in working with commercial industries, like the people who are working on genetics and genome analysis. But what I think, they prefer who have done masters in bioinformatics rather than choosing those who have done masters in non-technology, like life science.
Yeah.
We
So
There is a lot of scope in commercialization as well, because if we have a target of selecting 4 samples, then how to sequence those samples. There are various companies, they are taking your samples and they are sequencing your, and they have hired some bioinformaticians to analyze that sample. For a single sample, their cost is, I think, 1 lakh single sample, and many universities and institutes, they are providing them, I think, 2000 samples, 4000 samples. For a single sample, their cost is 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs. Means there is a lot of scope of sequencing. And if for a structural biology, if you have designed a molecule by using bioinformatics technique, then you have to prove that molecule. And if you order any company that will design that molecule, for designing, means work will go from your side. The formula, you will give them a formula and they will design. Means you can easily commercialize this. Means there are a lot of bioinformaticians, they are working in companies. They have good packages as well, because they are analyzing data in bulk, big data.
That's what I was saying, that in this field they always prefer people who have done masters in bioinformatics rather than choosing those who have just done a course or they have some basic knowledge of it. This is I am feeling now currently. So this was just my...
It's not though. Now, there are a lot of persons, they have knowledge of bioinformatics and they have good knowledge of bioinformatics, and there are many persons, means including my several teachers, they are not from bioinformatics field, but I have given my at least 10 to 12 years to bioinformatics. That's why I'm expert in this field. There are a lot of persons who are from other fields and they learn bioinformatics and they have implemented this this part bioinformatics in their idea in order to commercialize the things that we know about bioinformatics as well. We can design the drug, we can analyze the data, we can do this and that. Means this is the plus point for them, if you can convince them, because there are many persons, many labs, they are interested in persons who has knowledge of interdisciplinary, like wet lab, dry lab as well. But if they are doing if they just need a big data analysis person, then they will even ignore bioinformatician as well. Then they will hire some IT person.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So it means being a fresher in this field and have masters in life sciences, I should go for PhD, according to you.
Yeah. Surely you should go for PhD. And in PhD, you may learn more things. And if you have some good publications, you get postdoc. Or if you want to go towards industry, then it's also good. But in industry, you may, there is no degree, but by PhD, you may earn and you have a degree as well. Hence, if you have a knowledge of bioinformatics, you can easily opt any CSIR lab with any biotechnologist, because every biotechnologist need a bioinformatician or a person with the knowledge of bioinformatics.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
And I think once you have the knowledge of the subject, then your understanding is more clear, and the opportunities that you look are more directed towards what you actually want to do. Right.
Yes.
So if you learn the topic properly, you can know like what can be the opportunities from here to do PhD. Or even if you don't want to do PhD, you can do some specialized courses and then you can move in this direction.
After learning this course, maybe other ideas will come in your mind and you can opt your career according to your.
So, sir, do you people provide any placements or reference to some industries or companies?
We can provide reference, but regarding placements, means to any company or any other place that ma'am can guide you better.
Yeah, if you are connected with us over a longer period of time, then definitely we can try for you. But if you come and then disappear, then I don't think we can work for your placement.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
No, I mean, if you are connected with us, you do the course, you do the project, and you publish papers with us, then, I mean, there can be opportunities for placement also. But if you come for 1 or 2 lecture and then you disappear, then I don't think so any opportunity can be created that way, right?
Yeah,
So you
that's
have to
so
be connected with people over the years, then that makes that helps you in your career actually.
yes.
Maybe one more thing I'll tell you. There are a lot of scientists. They are approaching me to do work. I'll recommend your name if you are good in learning bioinformatics. Surely I'll recommend your name to the scientists. There are a lot of scientists. They are approaching me for their work in the collaboration, and they need bioinformaticians, other people having knowledge in bioinformatics. Surely, if I recommend, then 90% chances they will hire you.
Okay. Okay.
Also, I think if you want, you can move out for PhD abroad with his reference. Right. That can also be fruitful for you.
Maybe many people they can go abroad with my reference as well. My family is
That's what
already
I'm
settled in
saying.
abroad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she can get PhD in a good institute abroad. And from there, you can be easily hired by any company, and you will get a very nice package.
Yeah. There, in abroad, there is a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. Any other questions? So I think from next week we will be starting the course from Monday.
Okay, ma'am, please send me the details of the course.
I think I have not emailed you. I have emailed many people. I'll just email you. You drop your email ID to me, and I will email you. Okay. So since you people are really enthusiastic about, you can join the course. Okay, start taking the lectures. So then you will be more clear about what to do and what not. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
So if you all three want to learn the basics, then it can start from I think next week, and all of you can be in the basic bioinformatics batch. Dr. Gagandeep, is that okay for you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No problem.
Okay. So
It's okay.
I think Pragati also wants to join the basic one. So all the three can start from Monday, and you can give a convenient time to them.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
I think this time suits you. Is it? This time is okay for you?
Yes,
This
ma'am.
time is fine, I think.
Yeah, because I think in the morning they must be having classes or something like that. So I think this time is okay. 4 o'clock Monday. All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Then bye bye. See you later. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you all, and thank you, ma'am.
Okay.